never ending, this debate that we have versus what is a horror and what is a thriller. Hello everyone and welcome to the Blue Porch. In today's video we are going to be taking a look at the newest season to the Black horror anthology series, Them. The film is set in 1991 and follows the LAPD detective Dawn Reeves, who is assigned a new case, a gruesome murder that leaves the most hardened detectives shaken. But as she gets closer to the truth, a malevolent force grips her family. Now, right off the bat, I think my favorite thing about this film is that it's set in 90s Los Angeles. Deborah Irinde and Luke James both killed it in this series. I think they were probably the best part of the series. I don't think there was any person or anybody that kind of outdid that performance. I think that Luke James specifically really laid into his role, and I think that he was very much supported by Deborah Irinde, and I think that there was just something about his performance that really stood out through this entire series. I feel like the series started off really well. The first episode really had a lot of great horror movie moments, especially with the questions of like, how did the body get there? What happened to this victim? What did this? And it really had a nice little slow buildup of creepiness and what I would consider to be horror. But as the series went on, I kind of found myself losing interest a little bit more and more as the curtains were pulled back and we got to see the explanation as to what exactly happened. Another thing that I really liked was that this series had a lot of dynamic black characters. I think the biggest thing that I liked was that it really subverted what one feels to be black masculinity, especially in the character Desmond. Especially with his inability to play like harder roles as the role of thug. I thought that was a very nice insinuation, especially when they mentioned that he could play the role of a killer, and that you don't really see a lot of black people playing the roles as the killer. I think this was actually before the release of Candyman, so that was a very meta take on horror at the time. So I feel like seeing these black characters, and especially black men in different sort of roles, really helped the imagery, and I really was there for that. I'm also a very big fan of the way that they portrayed the black family in the series. Like, you had this middle class black family who wasn't struggling or going through anything, I guess, traumatic before the events of the story. It wasn't like they were a struggling black family who were, low income, living in the hood, or living somewhere in the ghetto where their life is constantly threatened. And it really subverted the trope of the urban city being a inherently dangerous place. So I do give the series props for that as well. I didn't just love this series. I'm gonna be quite honest with you all. There was a lot to be desired in the presentation of this series as a horror fan. And I think the biggest thing was I did not like the pseudo supernatural feel of the story. I felt like it was trying to be like a true detective where it had some supernatural elements, but it really wasn't supernatural. It was trying to blend both worlds of being normal and supernatural. And I feel like there's a fine line between doing that, but I feel like this really just didn't have the right gauge, and it came off a little bit over the top for me, and I didn't enjoy it. Another big thing was I didn't think this was scary. I went into this horror series expecting to get scared. I always go into a horror series expecting to get scared, and the truth is this series didn't scare me. And to be quite frank, I am calling it a horror series as a formality because that's what everyone is saying it is. But personally, as I was watching it, this really did feel more like a thriller. It felt like I was watching something akin to Seven or Red Dragon. You know, I get that there was a psychological aspect to it, but it didn't really come off to me as being something that would be an element of horror. And another big aspect that I wanted to speak on was that I was kind of worried that this film was going to have the absent black father stereotype, but the film did correct itself. So I'm just going to leave it there. I don't want to spoil anything, but I was worried about that. Overall, I'm going to say that this wasn't necessarily a horror film, and I'm pretty disappointed by that. And I will say this will cast a very wide net over my entire judgment of this series as I went in to experience black horror. But to be quite honest, this is definitely something that is not just limited to this series. It's really something that I think I can talk about just in general about the genre and how we're getting more of these thriller horror movies as opposed to actual horror movies. I mean, this can be taken back to the age-old discussion of what is a horror versus a thriller, but personally, I swear I was watching either Seven or Red Dragon, and I don't consider either of those to be horror. I mean, they're scary, yes, but are they horror? No. I think that they're more in the realm of thriller, suspense, and I feel like Them the Scare is definitely more in the realm of thriller, suspense. But you know, I'm gonna say what I always say, and that is check it out for yourself. So let me know in the comments section, what did you guys think of Them the Scare? Did it actually scare you? Did you think you were watching a horror series? Was it more thriller? What did you like about the series and what didn't you like? And if you want to see more videos like this, or you want to just follow me and my journey through black horror, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and you will see more videos from yours truly. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.